and gentlemen, welcome to this new camera comparison test. My name is Paul, I'm a German filmmaker, and we're comparing now the Lumix GX80 and the Panasonic S5. Both cameras set up to 25 pictures per second in 4K, complete natural color profile on automatic focus mode. Both are set to f10 because I don't have an ND filter for both of these cameras, and we are comparing now the completely natural picture profile, completely out of camera, no color grading whatsoever, because the one camera will maybe have some slighter advantages in color grading, but we're testing now these both cameras. If you can see a difference between a $350 setup and a $2,500 setup. We can see now a difference. It's a more aperture priority difference. I set both of these cameras to aperture priority. One camera is set to f2.8 and one camera is set up force to f4.2, because the kit lens on the Lumix GX81 has an aperture from 3.5 to 5.6, which is really fast to f5.6. And maybe can we see a difference between both of these pictures? I bet now you can see a pretty significant difference, because one camera has a bigger sensor. The bigger is the sensor is 4 times bigger than the other camera, and I think you can see a pretty clear difference which camera is which now. It's very cold. As you maybe can see now, these both cameras are almost looking the same, because the Lumix GX81, it's totally cold, and I'm shooting this video now maybe the fourth time, because the Lumix GX81 has not the same autofocus settings as the Lumix S5. That's pretty annoying. But as you maybe can see now, the Lumix GX81 has now a 42.5mm f1.7 lens on it. I'm playing a little trick here on now, that you can see now that the picture looks maybe almost the same, because the shallow depth of field makes most pictures good and cinematic. And sure, the Lumix S5 can shoot in 10-bit and slow motion and everything, but I wanted to show you that maybe 600-ish euro or dollars equipment can produce also a pretty nice shallow depth of field. Besides, the sensor is a quarter of the size than the full-frame sensor, because the Lumix S5 is a full-frame sensor and f2.8 is considered as a f2.8. Sure, and the Lumix GX81 has an MFT sensor, and f1.7 on 42.5mm is in the full-frame world, 85mm and also maybe f2.8. And if you compare both of these pictures, are both pretty good in my opinion. If you are a YouTuber and want to produce some nice videos with also pretty shallow depth of field, with a nice portrait lens, you can purchase this setup with the Lumix GX81 and the 42.5mm Lumix lens for maybe 600-ish euros. And if you want to produce the same in the full frame world, you have to add a zero to this number. No, not 6,000 euro, maybe 3,000 euro, or 2,500 euros if you get it used. And you can produce also some amazing images. So in my conclusion, when you're just starting out and want to learn about videography, purchase the cheap setup, because you have a pretty big variety of lens. In the MFT world, have you the most versatile lens options in the world. The MFT market is the biggest market when it comes to different lenses, and it's also a pretty nice used market. The L mount system has not the most variety of lenses, but in the full frame world you don't need the most variety of lenses, because there are you have a wide angle, you have a standard zoom, you have all the setup from 24 or 20 to 85 and 135mm prime lenses, which are somehow affordable. And if you ask me, for a nice YouTube setup are the Lumix GX81 perfect in my opinion, also with the kit lens, because shallow depth of field is not everything. So, if you want to support my journey and if you want to see more comparisons between both of these cameras, and maybe subscribe to my channel and comment and like that I can afford some nice English classes, because I'm from Germany, I'm a small filmmaker, I'm not a big Hollywood production company, I'm like you, just starting out, and I want to give you some tips and tricks about my videography and photography journey, because I'm now in the 4.5 years of my Selbstständigkeit, and I already making some money. Some people call me a professional filmmaker, some people call me a YouTuber, and some people even give me money to work with my camera. And yes, I'm not the biggest I'm even not the biggest YouTuber, so subscribe to my channel to see my journey.